All right, folks, we're live again. St. James playing at Providence Christian in a tri-match between St. James. We just were defeated by the host team, Providence Christian, 25-18, 25-15, and we're now taking on the Houston Academy Raiders for the first time, I believe, in school history. History being made today. This is the first time that a St. James team, and Coach Oldfield said any Montgomery team has traveled to Providence Christian to play, which that's an honor and a great opportunity for the Trojans, but also a good opportunity for us to play Houston Academy. We're trying to set up a home and away with Providence Christian each year, and this will give us an opportunity to see the Houston Academy Raiders. Houston Academy Raiders will complete their warm-ups. They've got plenty of height. It's just going to be a task for the Trojans to take down the Raiders. Incoming, coming in.
Have an awesome golf tour.
Yeah, volleyball's something else, but yeah, we're just, Kenny Capulla and I just noticing that the Providence Christian golf team has won 6 state championships. Pretty impressive right there. 2 different classifications. Hey, the school and the facility here is just really nice. This is a first class, coaching staff, players, everything. Just really impressed with Providence Christian. Really impressed with Houston Academy and their warm-ups as well. They have 3 or 4 really strong hitters. Scoreboard says we're about 3 minutes away as far as time to play. like since their setter number 5 is working on a jump spike, they may be running a 5-horn offense. Houston Academy now practicing their serves. All right, that'll end their practice serves. And St. James will get their practice time, the practice warm-up, after we've already played a game, but practice warm-up. St. James we got 5 minutes and 30 seconds left. I'm hoping that it just reconnected. Yeah, I was. It said reconnecting. Did something happen? You know? It's still, the video still good?
I checked it.
I mean, it wasn't jumpy like it'd been being?
You on there?
Yeah, hold on.
need to get it out of your system, just hit it real quick. So.
Yeah. We're about 2 minutes and 30 seconds from play, and St. James is still in their warm-up period. Again, we're taking on this second match of the tri-match. We're taking on the Houston Academy Raiders. They had a very impressive warm-up. This, to my knowledge, this is the first time the St. James high school volleyball team has played Houston Academy. Our JV team is playing Providence Christian and Houston Academy at Houston Academy today, as part of a tri-match with them as well. St. James looking to regroup after a tough 25-18, 25-15 loss to Providence Christian. Providence Christian is a very good team, very well coached, very disciplined volleyball team and volleyball program. St. James will practice their serves now as we're 1 minute away from getting ready to kick this match off. "30 seconds. Maybe they'll stop it before the horn blows. Come on, somebody have mercy on us and stop the horn. We got 10 seconds. Thank you. They stopped the horn at 3.2 seconds and saved our eardrums. All right. Both teams will get ready to greet each other at the net. The Raiders take their court. Trojans are still huddled up. And the Trojans take the court and ready themselves to greet the Raiders at the net. And here we go, we're about to get this thing going. And it's about to get loud in here. The down referee will start checking lineups on the St. James side. St. James starts this first set with Ashley White, Kathleen Wright, Marilee Kapuya, Emily Olsey, Carson Ann Crow, and Bailey Williams. It appears that the Raiders may have won the toss and will be serving to St. James. The Trojans lineup has been checked. Tell you what a class operation this Providence Christian coaching staff is. The head coach and assistant coach are calling lines for this match. It's awesome. All right, here we go. Number 12 for the Raiders serving to St. James. This is a best 2 out of 3 set. Serve comes in. Played by Marilee Kapuya to Olsey. Olsey pushes it to Kathleen Wright. She pushes it over the block and down. That's a kill for Kathleen Wright. Point for St. James. St. James takes an early 1-0 lead as Emily Poundstone comes in for Ashley White and serves for St. James. Low serve. Raiders set up their offense. That ball's out of bounds. Point for St. James. St. James takes an early 2-0 lead. Poundstone serves the ball to the middle of the Raiders defense. They set up their attack. Ball's tipped by Olsey, pushes it, overpass, and a kill for the Raiders. That's a side out to Houston Academy. St. James holds on to a 1-point lead. The score is St. James 2. The Raiders of Houston Academy 1. Ball comes into Olsey, sets it up to Poundstone. Kathleen Wright off the block. That's a kill for Kathleen Wright. That's her second of the match. Score now is the Trojans 3, the Raiders 1. Marilee Kapuya goes back to serve for St. James. Serve goes into the back middle of the Raiders defense. Set up their attack. It's blocked at the net. It's a lift. Olsey and Kathleen Wright with the block. Point for St. James. St. James leading now 4-1. Nice serve by Kapuya. Low serve, push to the net. The Raiders setter pushes the ball over the net and surprises the Trojans. The ball hits the court. Point for the Raiders. Side out to them. St. James holding on to a 4-2 lead. Serve comes in. Played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Olsey. She hammers the ball. That's a lift. That's a kill for Emily Olsey. Point for St. James, and they side out and they get a 5-2 lead. Alan Browning serving for the Trojans. She floats one over to the middle of the Raiders defense. The back set to their attacker. Ball's out of bounds. Point to St. James. St. James with a 6-2 lead now. Browning continues to serve for St. James. Serve comes in, floater to the middle of the back of the Raiders defense. Marilee Kapuya takes that dig, gets it to Carson Ann Crow, and off the block and out of bounds. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. Poundstone to Crow with St. James leading now 7-2. Timeout Raiders. Score on the court, St. James 7, Houston Academy 2. Much better start for the Trojans in this set. The Trojans break their huddle, take the court, and so do the Raiders. Alan Browning, number 8, serving for St. James. Again, the score is St. James 7, Houston Academy 2. Browning floats one into the middle of the Raiders defense. They set up their attack. Pushed over, dug up by Poundstone. Browning comes in, sets it up to Bailey Williams. Bailey Williams with the push back to the back of the defense. We got a free ball to St. James. Browning pushes the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone back sets to Crow. An attack dug up by the Raiders. They set up their back row attack. Into the net, point for St. James. St. James now with an 8-2 lead over the Raiders. Browning floats one in to the middle of the defense. It's pushed over. Carson and Crow with an overpass. Push it over. Browning gets the ball to Poundstone. She pushes the ball to Olsey in the middle. Off the block. And it's dug up by the Raiders. Free ball to St. James. Olsey gets the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone back sets to Carson and Crow. That's a kill for Carson and Crow. Beautifully set up play. Poundstone to Crow, and that's Carson and Crow's second kill of this match. Score now St. James 9, Houston Academy 2. Browning still serving for St. James. She floats another one into the middle of the defense. They push it to the net. Free ball to St. James. Marilee Capulla gets it to Poundstone. Poundstone back to Bailey Williams. She pushes the ball over. Houston Academy gives a free ball back to St. James. Played by Alan Browning. Ball hits the net and falls onto St. James side of the court for a point for the Raiders. St. James holds on to a 6-point lead now. The score is 9-3. Serve comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. She pushes it to Poundstone, back to Crow in the middle. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. That's her third. Poundstone to Crow. St. James leading the Raiders of Houston Academy now 10-3. Emily Olsey back serving for the Trojans. Ashley White comes in for Emily Poundstone. Olsey floats one into the back of the defense, close to the net. Point for St. James as they call a double touch on the Raiders setter. St. James takes 11-3 lead now. Olsey serving for St. James. Olsey floats one into the back right corner. That's an ace for Olsey. He put it right on the back line. St. James leads now 12-3 over the Raiders of Houston Academy. Olsey ready to serve another ball. She floats one in, this time to the middle of the defense. They set up their attack. Ball's tipped. Capulla pushes the ball to Olsey. Olsey pushes the ball to Crow. Cross-court attack and down. Carson Ann Crow's fourth kill of this match. St. James takes a 13-3 match lead. Olsey floats one in again to the middle of the defense. It's pushed up to the net. Oh, it's raked over by the Raiders. Olsey gets it to Alan Browning. Browning gets it over to Carson Ann Crow for an attack. Oh, nicely dug up by Alan Browning. They set up their attack again. Olsey punches the ball. Ashley White gets the ball over. Alan Browning gets the ball over net on a free ball. The Trojans set up their defense. Olsey digs the ball up. Ashley White pushes the ball over the net. That's a double touch. Nice try by Ashley to get the ball over, but a double touch is called. Nice hustle point now. The Trojans lead 13-4 over the Raiders. The Raiders serving to St. James. Ball's floated in, played by Marilee Capulla. She gets the ball to Olsey. To the left, Ashley White. She knocks the ball down. The Raiders dig it up, set up their attack. Into the net. Attack error by the Raiders gives St. James their side out and their 14th point. Trojans lead now 14-4 with Carson Ann Crow back serving for St. James. Crow floats one into the middle of the Raiders defense. They set up their attack. Back set dug up by Olsey. Carson Ann Crow punches the ball over to Ashley White. And down for a kill. Carson Ann Crow with an assist to Ashley White. Ashley White's first kill of this match. The Trojans lead now 15-4. Carson Ann Crow still back serving for St. James. She floats one into the back of the defense. Ball's pushed up to the net. Tipped over. Saved by Marilee Capulla. The Raiders get their offense set up. Alan Browning gets the ball up. Olsey hustles in, gets it to Capulla. Cross-court shot dug up by the Raiders. They set up their attack. It's pushed. Olsey punches it up. Alan Browning gets the ball over. But the Trojans can't get it back over the net. St. James a side out to Houston Academy. St. James with a 15-5 lead now. Serve comes in. Alan Browning pushes it to Olsey right at the net. Too close to the net. Point for the Raiders. St. James holding on to a 15-6 lead. Serve comes in. Played by Browning. She gets it to Olsey. Pushes it to Ashley White. She hammers it down off the block and down. That's a kill for Ashley White. That's her second kill. Point for St. James. They lead now 16-6. Side out with Bailey Williams serving for St. James. Ball's floated into the middle of the back row. Pushed up to the net. Tipped over. Capulla gets it to Olsey. Olsey back to Capulla on the left side. It's a little long. Nicely set up. The ball just hit a little long. Attack error by St. James gives a side out to Houston Academy. St. James holding on to a 16-7 lead. Serve comes in. Ball's on the line. Ball's on the line. That's an ace for the Houston Academy server. St. James holding on to an 8-point lead now. The score is 16-8. Serve comes in, hits the tape and rolls over. That's an ace. The second ace in a row for the Houston Academy server. St. James still leads 16-9. Another serve. Bailey Williams got an overpass. That's a lift called on St. James. Point for the Raiders. St. James now with a 6-point lead. They lead 16-10. Timeout. St. James. Trojans needing a side out and get some momentum back on their side. Trojans take the court. The Raiders break huddle and they take the court. St. James still holding on to a 6-point lead now. The score is 16-10 in favor of the Trojans. Serve comes in. Ball's out. Great timeout for Coach Karen Lee. That's a point to St. James and a side out that we needed desperately. St. James leading now 17-10 with Emily Poundstone coming in for Ashley White to serve for the Trojans. Poundstone serves the ball. That's an ace. She threw the hammer. That ball died at the net and went straight down on the court. St. James now leads 18-10. Another floater serve back to the middle of the defense is pushed up to the net. Dug up by Carson Crow. Poundstone gets it to Kathleen Wright. She pushes the ball down the left side. It's dug up. Bailey Williams pushes the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone pushes the ball down to the net. Oh, the ball's hit between two St. James defenders and down on the court. That's a point for the Raiders. St. James holding on to an 18-11 lead. Perfectly placed by the Raiders attacker. Lefty serve comes in. That ball's out. Ball's 6 feet out of bounds. That's a service error for the Raiders, giving St. James a side out. And St. James leading 19-11. Mary Lee Capilla serving for St. James. She threw a heater back to the back left corner. Oh, Raider attacker hits the ball off a St. James block, and the ball goes out of bounds for point for Houston Academy. St. James holding on to a 7-point lead now. The score is 19-12. Serve comes in, played by Carson Crow to Poundstone. Back to Crow on the left side. In the block and middle, that's a lift. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. That's her 5th kill of this match. Score now is St. James 20, Houston Academy 12. Allen Browning serving for St. James. The Raiders set up their offense. Mary Lee Capilla gets the ball, gets it over to Poundstone, down to Bailey Williams. The ball's out down the right line. An attack error by St. James gives a side out to Houston Academy. St. James holding on to a 7-point lead now to score. St. James 20, Houston Academy 13. Serve comes into the Trojans, played by Mary Lee Capilla. She pushes the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone tries to punch the ball over the net, but it goes backwards. That's a ball handling error and the ball goes back to Houston Academy. St. James with a 6-point lead now, 20-14. Ball short, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Crow in the middle. Nice attack, ball's dug up. by the Raiders. Free ball to St. James, played by Capuglia. Poundstone punches the ball over. Oh man, good hustle play by the Trojans. It's a nice hustle play by the Trojans, but the point goes to the Raiders, and St. James holding on to only a 5-point lead now. The score, St. James 20, Houston Academy 15. Serve comes in, played by Carson and Crow. She gets it to Poundstone, back to Crow in the middle. She hammers the ball down and out of bounds. That's a kill for Carson and Crow. Poundstone to Crow again gives St. James their 21st point, and they lead 21-15. Emily Olsey back serving for the Trojans. Olsey floats one into the back row, pushed up to the net. Oh, it's dug up nicely by Allen Brown, and she gets it to Ashley White. Browning saves the ball, gets the ball over the net. St. James sets up their defense. Ball hits the middle of the Trojans' defense on a push over the net for a point for the Raiders. St. James holding again onto a 5-point lead. Score, St. James 21, the Raiders of Houston Academy 16. Serve comes in. Oh, that ball is going to be out. That's an ace for the Raiders and gives them their 17th point now. The St. James holding on to only a 4-point lead now. Number 21 for the Raiders serving the ball to St. James. She floats it in, played by Allen Brown, and gets it to Olsey. Olsey to Carson and Crow on the right side. Ball's dug up by the Raiders. They set up their offense. Back. An attack error by the Raiders gives St. James a side out in their 22nd point. They lead 22-17. Carson and Crow serving for the Trojans. She floats one into the back of the Raiders defense. They set up their attack. It's pushed over. Marilee Capuglia gets the ball off a tip by Bailey Williams back to Capuglia. They try their own. Bailey Williams down. That's a kill for Bailey Williams. That's an overpass by the Raiders, and that's Bailey Williams' first kill, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Carson and Crow still serving for the Trojans with a 23-17 lead. Crow floats one into the back right corner. The Raiders set up their attack. Ball's dug up nicely by Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Back over to Capuglia on the left side. Oh, the ball's a little long. Doggone it. Perfectly placed ball, but it was a little long by Capuglia. That gives the Raiders a side out in their 18th point. St. James holding on to a 5-point lead now. The score is 23 for St. James, 18 for Houston Academy. Serve comes in. That was going to be long. Played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Ashley White dumps it over the defense. Ball saved by Houston Academy. She gets it to Bailey Williams. Pushes it to Ashley White on the right side. Ball was going to be out, but played by Houston Academy. Cross court, played by Marilee Capuglia. She gets it to Olsey. Back to Ashley White. Dug up nicely. Bailey Williams hit the ball in at the net, over and into the block, and the ball comes back over on St. James' side. Point for the Raiders. The score now, St. James 23, Houston Academy 19. Serve comes in. Carson Crow plays it. She gets it to Olsey. And the ball goes out of bounds. That's a ball handling error on the Trojans. They hold on to now a 3-point lead. Coach Karen Lee calls a timeout. On the court, the score, St. James 23, Houston Academy Raiders 20. St. James looking for the last 2 points to wrap up this first set. Again, this match is a best 2 out of 3 and will be the final match in this tri-match that we're playing today at Providence Christian High School. The Trojans break huddle and take the court. Ashley White, Emily Olsey, Bailey Williams, Marilee Capuglia, Allen Browning, and Carson Ann Crow on the court for the Trojans. The score, St. James 23, Houston Academy 20. We need a side out. Carson Crow plays the ball up to the net. and that's a net violation on the Trojans. Sorry, it's a double hit call. Point for the Raiders. St. James with a 2-point lead now, 23-21. Ball comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey, to Ashley White. She dunks it down on the ball, and that's in. That's Ashley White's third kill of the match, and perfect timing. That gets us to set point with Bailey Williams serving for St. James. The score, St. James 24, Houston Academy 21. Bailey Williams serves the ball to the right side. The Raiders set up their attack. Blocked by Ashley Williams and down on the court. Williams and Wright with the block. That ends the first set. St. James wins 25-21. Perfect timing for a block there, folks. St. James takes the first set from Houston Academy, 25-21. We needed that one. We got 2 minutes left in this intermission between the first and second set. The Raiders have taken the court and getting their lineup checked. The down ref is checking their lineup. St. James now starting this second set. Kathleen Wright, Marilee Kapuya, Emily Olsey, Emily Poundstone, Carson Ann Crow, and Bailey Williams. With Poundstone on the court starting the set, St. James will be serving to the Raiders. Both lineups have been checked, and the balls roll to Poundstone. And we're about to get this going on. This is the second set, best 2 out of 3. St. James won the first set 25-11. Poundstone serves it into the back row. They push it to the net. The Raiders set up their offense. Blocked by Olsey at the net. They set it up again. That ball's out. Point to St. James. We needed that. St. James takes an early 1-0 lead over the Raiders. Poundstone serves the ball to the back left corner. The Raiders push up. That's a double touch by their setter, giving St. James their second point. St. James leading now 2-0. Poundstone serves a floater into the middle of the defense. That ball's out, hitting to the stands by the Raider attacker. Point to St. James. St. James leading now 3-0 over the Raiders of Houston Academy. Poundstone floats another knuckleball in. They push it to the net. Free ball. That's a push for the Raiders. Actually called a lift. Point for St. James. St. James leading now 4-0. Poundstone floats another knuckleball into the back of the defense. Oh, that ball's out. Point for St. James. Timeout, Houston Academy. Score on the court, St. James 5, Houston Academy Raiders 0. This is exactly the start that we needed for this set. We need to keep the momentum. Emily Poundstone, number 10, back serving for St. James. His timeout is over. With balls back in play. Poundstone floats it into the back left corner now. The Raiders set up a back row attack. Oh, the ball hits the net. Olsey hits the ball in net after Carson and Crow dug it up, and the Raiders hit the ball into the net. That's an attack error on their part. Score now, St. James 6. The Raiders 0. Poundstone hits it back to the back left. They push it up to the net. Ball comes over the net, off Olsey's hand and onto St. James court for the Raiders' first point. Side out to Houston Academy with St. James leading 6-1. Serve comes in, played by Emily Olsey. Gets it to Poundstone, back to Olsey on the left side. She rolls it over. Dug up nicely by Poundstone. Bailey Williams gets it to Marilee Capulla. She rolls it over the net. Off the block and on the court. Marilee Capulla and Emily Olsey was at the net. It went off their block and onto the court. Point for the Raiders. The score, St. James 6, Houston Academy 2. Serve comes in, played by Carson and Crow. She pushes it to Poundstone. Back to Olsey. The ball's long. Point for Houston Academy. St. James leading now only by 3, 6-3. St. James needing a side out, stop the momentum. Serve comes in, played by Emily Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone, pushes it to Kathleen Wright in the middle. She punches the ball over to the back row. Ball's pushed, played by Bailey Williams to Poundstone. Back row attack, Carson and Crow. She rolls the ball over the defense. They set up their attack. Push, ball dug up by Poundstone. Bailey Williams comes in and gets the ball to Capulla. Oh, ball's out. Ball's called out. Point for the Raiders. St. James holding on to a 2-point lead now. The score, St. James 6, Houston Academy 4. Ball comes in, played by Olsey. She gets the ball to Poundstone. Back set to Marilee Capulla on the right side. Ball's dug up. Raiders set up their attack. Oh, a down the line attack and a kill for the Raiders. St. James now holding on to only a 1-point lead. The score is St. James 6, Houston Academy 5. Serve comes in, that's long. That's a service error by Houston Academy, giving St. James a side out. and a point. St. James now with a 2-point lead. The score 7-5. Merely Capullia serving for the Trojans. Serve comes in, hard serve to the middle of the back row. They push their serve over to the right. It's blocked and out of bounds. Point for Houston Academy. Side out to them. St. James with a 1-point lead now. Score is 7-6. Lefty serves the ball in. Ball's out of bounds. Another service error for the Raiders, giving St. James a side out and a point. St. James holding on now to a 2-point lead. The score is 8-6 with Alan Browning serving for the Trojans. Browning floats one into the middle of the defense. The Raiders set up their attack. Ooh! The ball's down on the court. Nobody got a hand on it. Point for the Raiders. Side out. St. James now with an 8-7 lead, holding on to a 1-point advantage. Serve comes in, played by Marilee Capullia, pushed up to the net to Poundstone. Overpass dug up by Olsey. Alan Browning comes in and gets the ball back to Olsey. She gets the ball over the net. Raiders in scramble mode. The ball's down. Ball's long. Out. Point to St. James. Nice communication by the St. James bench saying the ball was out. Score St. James 9, Houston Academy 7. Emily Olsey serving for St. James. Serve comes in, a floater to the back row. Capullia got a hand on it, that's about it. Ball goes out of bounds. Point to Houston Academy. St. James with a 1-point lead now. The score is 9-8. Serves floated in, played by Alan Browning. She gets the ball to Olsey. Back set to Carson Crow. Down the line attack. Ball's pushed up to the net. Free ball to St. James, played by Marilee Capullia. She gets it to Olsey. Olsey back to Ashley White. Off the block and down. Kill for Ashley White. That's her 4th kill. Point for St. James. They take a 10-8 lead now. Carson Crow back serving for the Trojans. Crow floats one into the right side of it. Nobody home. Nobody home. That ball's out. That's an ace for Carson Crow. Point for St. James. Score now with St. James 11, Houston Academy 8. Carson Crow serving for St. James. Crow floats one in to the right side. Raiders set up their attack. That ball's out of bounds. Point for St. James. That was a nice attack, but it's about 6 inches wide. St. James now with a 12-8 lead. Crow floats one into the right side again. Oh, the ball's barely out of bounds. I thought it was in, but it was out. Side out to Houston Academy. St. James with a 3-point lead now. The score is 12-9. Serve comes in. Almost hits the back wall. That's a service error for Houston Academy and gives St. James a side out that we needed. Score now is 13-9 as Bailey Williams goes back to serve for St. James. Serve floated in, barely over the net. What a nice serve. Free ball to St. James, played by Bailey Williams. She pushes it to Olsey. Olsey pushes the ball over the net. Ball's played by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Carson Crow. Ashley White saves the ball and gets it over the net. Ashley White, that's a ball handling error on St. James, giving Houston Academy a point. Score now, St. James 13, Houston Academy 10. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. Olsey hustles and gets the ball. Carson Crow with a 10-row. That's a kill for Carson Crow on the back row. Unbelievable. Nicely placed by Crow. St. James needed that side out. The score now, St. James 14, Houston Academy 10 with Emily Poundstone coming in for Ashley White and serving for the Trojans. Service error by the Trojans gives a side out right back to Houston Academy in their point. St. James with a 3-point lead now. The score is 14-11. Serve comes in. Mishandled serve receive, and that's an ace for Houston Academy. St. James now with only a 2-point lead. The score 14-12. Serve comes in. Carson Ann Crow plays it off of her hand and out of bounds. That's an ace for Houston Academy. That cuts the St. James lead to 1. St. James leading now 14-13. Serve coming in. Carson Ann Crow gets it to Poundstone, and the ball goes backwards. That's an ace for Houston Academy. That's 3 aces in a row for number 12. That evens the score. St. James 14, Houston Academy 14. Serve comes in, hits the net and rolls over. That's 4 aces in a row for number 12. Houston Academy takes a 15-14 lead over St. James. Floater serve comes in, played by Olsey. She gets it to Poundstone. Over to Mary Lee Capulla. That ball's down. Oh, and out of bounds. No touch call. Gosh, dog it. Point for Houston Academy. They now lead St. James 16-14.
Bounce off the head.
Hits the net. Carson Ann Crow digs it up, gets it to Poundstone. Back to Mary Lee Capulla. Ball goes into the net. A point for Houston Academy. Timeout St. James with Houston Academy leading the Trojans 17-14. The Raiders break huddle. They're holding on to a 3-point lead over the Trojans, who just broke huddle and took the court. Houston Academy leading St. James now 17-14. Ball comes in, hits the tape, and rolls over for another ace. Houston Academy now with a 4-point lead over St. James, 18-14. That's 5 aces in a row for number 12. Ball comes in, played by Carson Ann Crow. Poundstone gets the ball to Kathleen Wright in the middle. The ball goes over the net, dug up by the Raiders. Ball in between 2 Trojans and hits the court. That's a point for the Raiders that now lead St. James 19-14. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. Mary Lee Capulla gets it back over to Williams. The ball's long. Point for Houston Academy that now leads St. James by 6. The score is 20-14 in favor of the Raiders. Ball hits the net and rolls over again. Unbelievable. That's like 7 aces for number 12. Houston Academy now leading 21-14. Ellie Streeton, number 11, comes in for Kathleen Wright, number 2, up on the front row. Serve comes in, played by Bailey Williams. Emily Poundstone hustles it over for a back row set to Carson Ann Crow. The Raiders dig it up. They set up their offense. I'm not sure of that call. That's a point for St. James. I'm not sure of that call. Mary Lee Capulla serving for the Trojans. St. James down 21-15. That's a service error for the Trojans, giving Houston Academy a side out in a 22-15 lead. Lefty serves the ball in, played by Carson Ann Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Olsey in the middle. That's a kill for Olsey. That's her second kill. Poundstone to Olsey. That's St. James, a side out for them. They trail by 6. Allen Browning floats one into the middle of the Raiders defense. Ball's down. Nice attack by the Raiders that now lead St. James 23-16. Ball comes in, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Poundstone. Back to Crow. Dug up by the Raiders. They set up their back offense. Ball's blocked, and the ball falls on St. James' side of the court. This is set point for the Raiders now. The score: Houston Academy 24, St. James 16. Ball comes in, played by Carson Crow. Gets it to Poundstone, back to Crow. Ball's down. That's a kill for Carson Crow. That's her 8th kill. Side out to St. James. They trail by 7. The score 24 for Houston Academy, 17 for St. James. Emily Olsey serving for the Trojans. Nice serve by Olsey. She floats it back to the back row. Ball's out. Attack here by the Raiders gives St. James a point. St. James trails now 24-18. Olsey floats another one into the Raider defense. They set up their attack at the net. Ball's dug up by Olsey. Allen Browning gets the ball over to Ashley White. He tips the ball over the block. Ball set up for the attack. Blocked by White. Ashley White blocks another one. Ashley White, Bailey Williams team up for a block on the right side. Score now 24 for Houston Academy, 19 for St. James. Olsey floats another floater in. Free ball to St. James. Capulia gets the ball to Olsey. Olsey pushes the ball over to Carson Crow and down. Dug up by the Raiders. They set up their attack. Free ball to St. James, played by Carson Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Back set over to Ashley White and down. Another kill for Ashley White. That's her 5th. That's her 5th kill. Score now is timeout Houston Academy. The score now Houston Academy 24, St. James 20. Trojans break huddle, take the court. The Trojans now on the court: Ashley White, Bailey Williams, Carson Crow, Marilee Capulia, Allen Browning, and Emily Olsey, who's serving for St. James. We got to keep our rhythm. Olsey floats one into the left side. Raiders on scramble mode. Push the ball over. Olsey gets the ball over to Allen Browning. Browning to Crow. Nobody home. Perfect placement by Carson Crow down on the back left corner. Point for St. James. They only trail by 3 now. Houston Academy 24, St. James 21. Olsey floats another one into the back row. It's pushed to the net. Oh, a nice kill by the Raiders. It ends the second set. St. James loses the second set to Houston Academy 21-25. There'll be a third and final set. We'll play to 15. Not what you want to do when you're traveling is play a third and final set to 15. St. James won the first set 25-21. Houston Academy won the second set 25-21. We got a little less than 1 minute to start this third set. Again, it's one set apiece between St. James and Houston Academy. Break huddle. The down referee will check their lineup. St. James breaks their lineup and takes the court for the third set. St. James will start with Mary Lee Capulla, Kathleen Wright, Emily Olsey, Bailey Williams, Carson Ann Crow, and Emily Poundstone. St. James will be serving first in this third and final set. The down referee has checked both lineups and will roll the ball into Emily Poundstone, who will get this third set started. We're playing to 15, so we need to get on a roll early. Poundstone floats it in to the left side. Raiders in hustle mode. Back row set. Blocked at the net by Olsey and Wright. Set it up again. Blocked at the net and out of bounds. Point to the Raiders. They take an early lead, 1-0. We had our blockers there. The ball just went off our block and out of bounds. Houston Academy with a 1-0 lead to start this third set. Ball served into St. James and out of bounds. That's what we needed there. Even the score, service error. And that was a girl that had so many aces in the set before. Number 12, Mary Lee Capulla serving for the Trojans. She floats it over the net and low. They're in scramble mode. This is a free ball to St. James, played by Bailey Williams to Poundstone. Carson Ann Crow tips it over the block. That's a kill for Carson Ann Crow. That's her 10th kill of the match. Score now, St. James 2, Houston Academy 1. Mary Lee Capulla back serving for St. James. Nice serve back to the middle of the Raiders defense. They set up their attack. Blocked at the net, pushed over, saved by Poundstone to Capulla. Over to the left for Carson Ann Crow. She gets it back to the middle of the Raiders defense. They set up their attack. It's blocked. Ball's out of bounds. Kathleen Wright and Emily Olsey with the block over there, and the ball hit out of bounds by the attacker. St. James with a 3-1 lead. Capulla floats one in down low. That's almost a push. Ball's out of bounds. Very nice serve by Capulla. Put the pressure on the defense. St. James takes a 4-1 lead with timeout on the court for Houston Academy. This is exactly how we needed to start this third and final set, to hammer on them. St. James continues to have the block in place. Ball's just got to fall on their side of the court. The Trojans take the court. Mary Lee Capulla serving for St. James as the Raiders take their side of the court. Serve comes in, nice serve, push to the bottom. Poundstone digs the ball up, gets it to, Bailey Williams gets it to Crow, and it's a kill for Carson Crow. She hammers the ball off the shoulder of a Raider defender. St. James with a 5-1 lead. Great play by the Trojans. Capulla serves the ball just barely over the net. It's pushed over. Bailey Williams saves the ball, pushes it to the net. It's an overpass over the net, and the Raiders push the ball back down on St. James' side of the court for a side out. St. James holding on to a 5-2 lead. Lefty serves the ball in. Carson Crow pushes it to Poundstone. Back to Crow down the left side line. That's a kill for Crow. Poundstone to Crow down the left side line. That's a good recipe for St. James. Alan Browning serving for St. James. Browning floats a knuckler into the back left corner. The Raiders set up their offense. Dug up, it's dug up by Poundstone, but the ball goes out of bounds. Point to the Raiders. St. James now with a 6-3 lead over Houston Academy. Serve comes in, dug up by Marilee Capulla. Poundstone pushes it to Car St. Croix in the middle. Ball's off the block. Car St. Croix. Yes, it's a net violation for Houston Academy. Carson and Crow in the right place at the right time. Emily Olsey back serving for St. James. Olsey floats one in barely over the net. The Raiders set up their attack. Off the block, Carson and Crow gets the ball over to Olsey. Olsey back sets to Ashley White. Down the right sideline, that's a kill for Ashley White. That's her 6th kill. St. James takes an 8-3 lead now. Olsey still back serving for St. James. Olsey floats one into the middle of the defense. The Raiders set up their attack. Tipped off the block and out of bounds. St. James again had the block there. Ball goes out of bounds and a point for Houston Academy. St. James holds on to a 4-point lead now. The score is 8-4. Serve comes in, played by Ellen Browning. She gets it to Olsey. She back sets to Carson and Crow. Ball's blocked. Carson and Crow pushes the ball back over the net. Oh, nicely dug up by Capulla off the block. Olsey gets the ball to Carson and Crow. She tips it over the block. Free ball to St. James, played by Carson and Crow. She gets the ball to Olsey. Back to Carson and Crow. She tips the ball over and out of bounds. That's a kill for Carson and Crow. Not the way you draw it up, but we'll take that point all day long. Carson and Crow goes back to serve for St. James. It has a 9-4 lead over Houston Academy. She floats it in over the net to the right side. They set up their attack. Rolls it over the defense. Dug up by Carson and Crow. She gets it to Olsey. Back to Bailey Williams in the middle. Overpass. Ball plays off of St. James defender and out of bounds. Point to Houston Academy. St. James holding on now to a 4-point lead. The score is St. James 9, Houston Academy 5. Serve comes in, played by Marilee Capulla. She gets the ball to Olsey. Back sets to Bailey Williams. Down. Point to Houston Academy. St. James now with a 3-point lead. The score is 9-6. St. James needing a side out on this point. Ball comes in. Carson and Crow gets the ball to Olsey. Olsey sets it up to Capulla. Ball's too close to the net. The ball goes out of bounds. That's a point to Houston Academy. St. James now with a 2-point lead. The score is 9-7. Ball comes in. Played by Capulla. Overpass. Ball served in. Ashley White saves the ball and gets the ball over the net. The Raiders in scramble mode to set up their offense. They roll it over. Ball's out of bounds. Point to St. James. Again, that's not the way you draw it up, but we'll take that point. Bailey Williams goes back to serve for St. James, with St. James taking the lead to 10-7. Bailey Williams serves the ball back in the back right corner. They set up their offense. Ball dug up nicely by Williams. Gets the ball to Olsey. Ashley White hits the ball back over the net. Ball hits the net and rolls over on St. James' side. That's a point for Houston Academy. St. James now with only a 2-point lead. The score is St. James 10, Houston Academy 8. Serve comes in, played by Carson and Crow. She gets the ball to Olsey. Olsey over to Ashley White. Ball's down and out of bounds. That's a kill for Ashley White. Point for St. James. St. James now leading 11-8. Emily Poundstone comes in to serve for St. James. Poundstone floats one into the back left corner. They scramble in and set up their attacks. Ball's blocked, and the ball goes out of bounds. That's a point to Houston Academy. Again, St. James holds on to a 2-point lead. The score is St. James 11, Houston Academy 9. We're playing to 15. Ball comes in. Oh, it's a service ace by Houston Academy. St. James now holding on to a 1-point lead. St. James 11, Houston Academy 10 with timeout on the court. Timeout, Coach Karen Lee for St. James. We need a little intensity here for 4 more points. The Raiders take the court, down by 1 to the Trojans, and the Trojans take the court. Houston Academy, number 12, their best server, serving to the Trojans. Serve comes in. That ball's out of bounds. Man, that's what we needed. St. James now takes a 12-10 lead. Marilee Kapuya, number 7, goes back to serve for the Trojans. We're looking for 15. Nice serve to the back row. Pushed over, dug up by Bailey Williams. She gets it to Poundstone. Back over to Carson Ann Crow. Off the block and out of bounds. That's Carson Ann Crow's 15th kill of this match. Marilee Kapuya goes back to serve for the Trojans. We need 2 points to 15. Kapuya serves one in. That's a nice serve. Puts the pressure on the defense. The ball's out of bounds. Point to St. James. We're at set point, match point. St. James with a 14-10 lead over the Houston Academy Raiders. This is one we're looking for. Timeout, Houston Academy. Trying to ice our server, and that's not going to work. St. James with a 14-10 lead. We're looking for 1 point. Trojans take the court. Looking for one last point. We're playing for set point, match point. The Trojans at 14-10. Number 7, Marilee Kapuya back serving for St. James as the Raiders break huddle and they take the court. We need 1 point. We might as well get it here. Ball's whistled in. Kapuya serves it over. Nice play. Pushed in. There's trouble on the defense. Ball's tipped over. Kapuya gets the ball to Poundstone. Poundstone to Emily Olsey in the middle. She rolls it over the block. Ball's at the net. Carson Ann Crow with the block at the net to end it. Perfect timing for Carson Ann Crow to get up there and block one to end the set, in the match. St. James wins this third and final set, 15-10, and defeats Houston Academy 2-1. We can fire the bus up now and head back to Montgomery. We split on the road. If we can sweep at home and split on the road, that's the way we need to do it. Until